All right, so again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today for a mini webinar. My name is Bridget Brown, and I'm with the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals. As all of you know, we've got a conference coming up May the 24th through the 26th in Orlando, and one of our pre-conference workshops is on the use of technology. Of course, technology is at the center of a lot of what workforce development does. It's a way for us to communicate and to share data with all of our customers, but in many cases we're not really sure how to utilize it to our greatest abilities. So we'll be having a pre-conference 4-hour workshop, and we thought we wanted to give everyone a little overview of what that might look like. So I'm thrilled to be joined today with our presenters who will be there. We've got Selena, we've got Christina, and we've got Donna, who are going to be giving us a little 30-minute overview of what they're really going to take 4 hours to go through in a lot of depth. So with that, I'm going to turn everything over to Selena.
Okay, Bridget, well, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I'm Selena Shands-Gradian. I'm the CEO of Full Capacity Marketing, and we're just so excited to be part of this, not only the webinar, but the pre-con session in Orlando, where we're going to be taking both the non-techie and the techie workforce professional on a step-by-step journey to, as you see here on the screen, harness the power of technology. And while this pre-con is really a highly specialized topic, what you're going to see in today's webinar is that it has such a broad application to our work as workforce professionals, with so many benefits to understand how you leverage technology to engage business and industry, outreach to youth, job seekers, and students, and also influence funders to support our workforce mission. So welcome, everyone, and I'd like to start today by introducing the two national companies who are with us here today that are going to be presenting at the pre-con. First up is our company, Full Capacity Marketing, and I'll just take a quick little tour over to that website here so you can check it out. We work in workforce education and economic development. We've been doing so for the last 13 years, and I'm very proud of our 24 global awards for workforce education and economic development, communications, and technology. And the reason I mention that is because we're going to be sharing a lot of practical case studies that have been developed over the years in developing workforce brands and also aligning partners operationally to maximize engagement for your workforce customers. I'd like to also mention that we have a social media and technology LinkedIn work group, so if you're interested in joining that, please let us know and we'll get you enrolled in that. The second company joining the pre-con is BusinessU. BusinessU is an institutionally accredited organization, also with a national focus in 3 vertical markets that you see scrolling along the screen, which is workforce, education, economic development. BusinessU uses CRM technology called B2B Engage and professional development to build the capacity of these verticals to better engage business and industry. And the result is enhanced economic growth and job seeker and student success. Some of you may have attended our Business Engagement Bootcamp, which is a signature event, and you receive CEU credits for that particular class. We're very interested in elevating the role of the business-facing staff within workforce development. So that's a little bit about who we are. And who's on the call with me today is several folks from those companies, and who will be at the pre-con as well will be myself. I'll also be joined by Dr. Christine Bosworth, who's the CEO of BusinessU. And Dr. B has her doctorate in educational leadership, and she serves on the National Small Business Association of Leadership Council that focuses on economic development. She also, it's a fun fact about Dr. B, she had a 6-year tenure as a commissioner on the Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board and actually led the efforts around WIOA transitioning. So she's very familiar in this space and is also a sought-after keynote speaker on the topic of transformational relationships with business and industry. She's moderated many national panels that include the Aspen Institute and the Department of Labor. So welcome, Dr. B. And then we also have Donna Riles, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications. She is a veteran that's worked with over thousands of workforce organizations in the country, and she's our resident expert in social branding and social media. Donna's played a direct role in helping FCM acquire those 24 global awards, and they're both here today on the webinar. Each of us, we wanted to bring all three of us to the pre-con to work with you on technology because it can be a quite challenging topic, especially if you're a non-techie, and we don't want that to inhibit anybody from signing up from the pre-con. We each have our areas of specialty, and you'll have a lot of hands-on support during the actual pre-con itself. So today we wanted to give you a taste of what we're going to be covering, and to do that we need to talk about the changing landscape in workforce development and the role that social branding and social technology play in that space. We're going to give you an example using business engagement, and we'll do some polling along the way to get your input. That'll help us develop and design the curriculum for the pre-con, and then we'll do some Q&A. And I'm sure Bridget will tell you if you have any questions along the way, feel free to enter in the chat pod or the question box, and we'll pick those up and address them as well. Okay, so let's get started. So the changing landscape for all of us is really driven by the new Innovation and Opportunity Act, and it's really changed how we engage our stakeholders. There's more emphasis on engaging business and industry, not only within our own workforce organization, but across these multiple verticals: workforce, education, and economic development. And those workforce professionals that may be on the call that are not even funded by this act, that landscape is still changing because this is such a big part of it. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that we're focusing on more a human-centered design. That means we have to be able to capture the voice of the customer. We engage with them to help improve operations. That even means braiding our funding streams across workforce, education, and economic development, and getting out of our silos to work more collaboratively within the region. And what we see nationally is that there's still many disconnects when we work even within our own organizations, and honestly cannot be addressed by just learning marketing and sales techniques. At the end of the day, if we don't understand the implications of working in our silos and not using technology to better collaborate, then there's no sustainability. And that's exactly what we want you to achieve over the course of the year in working with our companies. So it starts with the pre-con, but our participants are going to receive basically a year of services with us through webinars to hone your skills and strategies and using technology to better engage and collaborate. So to give you an example of this, we're going to use, what happens when we work in silos. We're going to take business as a customer, since it's such an important customer under the new legislation. And to do that, I wanted to, Bridget, if you could bring up the first poll, and we're going to give you a couple of questions here just to talk about your practice around business engagement as an example. And the first poll is, business and industry are generally disengaged and not giving me buy-in to move my agenda forward. Just click agree, disagree, or not sure. So think about your, how you work within engaging business and industry, and do you think generally they're disengaged and not providing you buy-in to get your agenda to move forward?
We've got about half of you voted, so we'll just give you another couple of seconds and we'll close out this poll.
Okay, great. And then we have one other poll question right behind this that sort of ties into it. This will give us a good kind of idea on the landscape of you guys just on the call today, and maybe some of the challenges you're facing, and then we'll get into how technology can help alleviate those challenges.
Okay, so the results are up on your screen. It looks like 40% of you agreed with that statement, and then 30% disagreed, and 30% were not sure.
Okay. Well, that's very telling. Let's go up and bring the second poll, and then we'll talk about them together, Bridget. And the next poll is business customers experience compassion fatigue due to being approached by organizations with similar missions and agendas. If you feel that's true, just go ahead and click agree or disagree, not sure. So you think businesses are being bombarded by organizations with similar missions within your region.
All right. Get the last couple ones of you in here. All righty. So on this one, a little bit more disagreement. So 62% agree with that statement, 15% disagree, and 23% are not sure.
Okay. Well, these questions are very telling, and we pose them nationally. Christine, you may want to weigh in here. When you and I see this nationally, when we go out and teach boot camps, it really, we find that quite a few of folks are saying, I think customers, my business customers, are disengaged with me, and they're experiencing too much communication happening in the region, going out on knocking on doors. Christine, anything to add to that? It just seems to trend this way.
Right. Well, and you're right, Selena. It is, these statistics that just came up now are pretty much what we see nationally, and it's really because our efforts are not coordinated. And employers and businesses will tell you that they will engage with workforce development if the efforts were more coordinated. Then they can engage on a multitude of levels. And secondly, regarding the agenda, what happens with the agenda is businesses understand that you are coming in, and they know this right away, that you have your agenda instead of their agenda in mind. So what we need to do, and what you'll see at the pre-con, is how do you go about doing this without an agenda? How do you go about increasing your interaction with businesses by decreasing your expectations?
Exactly, and that can be done through technology, which we'll talk about. But here's some example of what businesses experience in what we call transactional examples of siloed asks. So for example, workforce development organizations within a region may go and ask a business, hey, hire our job candidates, serve on our board, partner in our high growth sector strategies. Those are all examples of an agenda. We're going in with a specific ask for the business. Now you couple that with education, who's asking them to design curriculum or sit on boards, and then economic development, which is all about creating more jobs, taking advantage of tax credits. And individually, what happens is over time, those outputs is you have communication overload within your region. So that's why your businesses are becoming disengaged. All of these organizations are going in with a preconceived agenda. They have compassion fatigue of organizations who represent special populations saying, oh, just place this veteran, or help this person with this disability, or help this youth as an intern. And over time, they become very disengaged. It also leads to duplicating of effort, which ties right into the communication overload. And also, we have to think about, if we're going out to represent just our organization with our agenda in our hip pocket, it limits our services and reach that we can garner in terms of expanding our business engagement and outreach efforts. And again, it leads to disengaged businesses, and most importantly, we're perceived as a vendor and not a partner. And that is so important, because we want to be seen as a partner status, one that can help a business during all of its cycles. That's going to help you all build your credibility and expand your reach. Now, the million-dollar question is, if we know these issues exist, how does social branding strategies and social technology solve these disconnects? First of all, what do those two terms even mean? And so let's take a little bit deeper dive into those two terms and then apply it to those issues to show you how it can solve some of the challenges you may be facing in the field. So any organization's a social brand if it uses social technologies to communicate and have conversations with customers, partners, and the general public. So remember, we said early on, the Innovation and Opportunity Act is about the voice of the customer. So a social brand is one that actually communicates and has conversations. It's not just pushing out marketing information or going to sell something. It's more of a two-way interaction. And what is a social technology? That's anything that facilitates social interactions and is enabled by communications capabilities such as the internet or mobile. So you know all the trends now. Everybody has a smartphone, everybody's on the internet, everybody uses Google search, all of that. And so yet we still find ourselves going out. Good example, and when we go and meet with businesses, is that we have to have our collateral materials and all of that. And the world has changed so much, and it's time that workforce development sort of get on this train of social branding and social technology. The outputs of that is it's going to really enhance your brand and enable more customers to come to you, the right targeted customers that's going to help move your mission forward. So now one of the things, obviously, in doing social branding and social technologies, and we'll get into 3 key strategies we're going to cover in the pre-con, is this whole concept of communicating with customers. So Bridget, if you could pull up the 3rd poll there, and we just want to get a sense from you, what percentage of your time is spent communicating information to your customers? Just select the category that best reflects what you're doing, and this could be any customer. It could be job seekers if you're in education. It could be students. It could be a business services representative or a business engagement representative. Doesn't matter the customer type, but what percentage is spent communicating information to your customers?
We'll give you just about another 5 or 6 seconds here. Looks like you're pretty quick on the uptake on this one, though. Alrighty. And you should see the results on your screen. Looks like we've got a chatty bunch. So 17% indicated that they're in the 26 to 50% range.
Okay.
42% are in that 51 to 75, and 42% are constantly interfacing with their customers. So no one was in that 25% or less category.
Got it. That's great. So 84% of you in total are communicating 51% or greater. That is a large amount of time of your day spent with customers. So thinking about how does technology help alleviate some of that time, decrease some of that time in terms of when you have to communicate information. Let's go into poll 4, Bridget, and I'm assuming if this is a chatty bunch, this one you can check all that apply. What are your key challenges as a workforce professional? And click the ones that are, you can select more than one. I'm assuming that not enough hours in the day to communicate with customers is going to be a hot one if 84% of you are really have a large majority of your time in communication with customers. I could be surprised.
And we're going to give you a few extra seconds on this one since it's check all that apply option.
That sounds good. So it includes things as, you know, how do you use technology to engage business? What are the best outreach tools for youth and or job seekers? And then how to influence funders or duplicating efforts with my partners. Now the other thing, you may have key challenges that are not listed there, and if so, you can put them in the chat pod or the question box, and Bridget can pick those up too, and we can chat about them as well.
Okay, it looks like most of you have gotten through, so let me see here. Wow, okay, so I'm actually surprised. Only 46% said there's not enough hours in the day to communicate. I thought that would have been higher, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
46% on how to use technology to engage business. 54% best outreach tools for youth and or job seekers. 31% said, nah, it's how to influence our funders. And the winner at 62% is the duplication of efforts with partners.
Ah, that's so interesting. And I'm assuming that's partners even within your organization and outside your organization. this is such a common issue that we see, then you're going to love these topics that we're going to be covering in the pre-con, and they're geared to handle these issues no matter which ones you check. So let's go through these. We're going to focus on 3 social technology solutions that you can execute on immediately, and we're going to focus, I'll give you a little taste of the 3. The first is all around the web. So how do you get businesses to find you in search engines? That's going to be one of the key topics. How do you get job seekers or youth? And a lot of this has to deal with developing the 3 key message strategies that you have to apply in any target audience. We're going to share a lot of case studies where workforce organizations have improved their brand awareness across the board among job seekers, youth, and businesses by 56% in a region by applying these strategies. So everything we teach, it's based on theory, and then there's an application to it in terms of real workforce organizations that have applied these strategies so that you can go back and replicate in your market. And just because you may not be in charge of your website, there are still things you can do to influence your organization to make some changes that will help improve your website traffic and also help you in your search engines. So we're going to share some of those case studies, and a lot of times too, we actually funded at Full Capacity Marketing a workforce website benchmark study. That's actually up on our website now, and you can feel free to go and download it. But it followed 32 workforce organizations, and we cross-referenced it to what we call Google Analytics, which is just an free analytic tool that you apply to your website to see, if website visitors are coming to your site, how many, where they're coming from, etc. And we found, very shockingly, that the majority of them used a lot of acronyms, the messages were off, and especially for some of our teams, the websites we looked at, there were absolutely no sections on the website for business and industry. So we're going to show you how to reorganize that, how you can work with your partners to get up in the search engines, and again, apply those case studies. Now, the second one we're going to talk about is social media platforms, and I noticed that a high percentage of you did not know the best outreach tools for job seekers and youth. So here's a question. Did you know that there's a distinct difference between B2C and B2B social media platforms? What in the world is B2C and B2B? So B2C, it means business to consumer, and that is more for your supply side target audiences, like your job seekers or if you're in education, students. While B2B platforms engage business and industry and even funders. And if you mix the two, you are not going to get the results that you want. Now, Donna is absolutely brilliant in social media, and she's actually going to walk us through how to create a very simple social media plan so you know which medium to use for which target audience, and show you how to manage it in 10 minutes a day. There are so many myths out there that social media takes all this time and energy, and you have to be strategic about it, but you can also be very smart using these free tools to manage it. So we're going to talk about what those tools are, and you'll walk out of this class with a social media plan. We'll also just share with you recent workforce and education social media campaigns that have won global awards that you can replicate. In fact, Full Capacity Marketing just won one for the community college system here in California on social media. So we have lots of case studies that you can replicate. And then the last, which is absolutely the hottest trend to date, is the use of social CRM, so customer relationship management. And how do you apply then your newly developed social media plan to this type of technology? Business U is actually going to give you a 30-day free trial of B2B Engage, which is the CRM tool being most rapidly adopted by workforce education and economic development professionals, so that you can hone your skills in technology. So these are the things that we're going to be covering: the web, social media platforms, and social CRM. And again, you do not have to be technology oriented to take the workshop, because we want everybody to be able to enhance their skills no matter what level you're at. Again, we're very focused on sustainability, not just you come into the class and you have fun in class, of course, but what learning is taking place and how are you going to apply that when you get back to your workforce organization. So on top of the free trial subscription for B2B Engage, you'll have access to our Business U webinar library and toolkits. And what you see on the screen is a list of live webinars, and we'll admit you to our national community of practice. So each month we have a thought-provoking topic in a live webinar on business engagement, followed by hands-on training in the CRM tool. So you'll be enrolled in that. Christine, I think I'm going to let you talk about this. Is another perk our participants will be receiving, which is a free GED online prep course. So Christine, I'll kick it over to you for that.
Well, thanks, Selena. And yes, Business U has funded a comprehensive web-based GED prep course for any of your job seekers and anybody that you work with. You can give them this link. And what it does, it is available in our eUniversity, and it covers all of the details required in the GED exam. So there's also an assessment test, et cetera. And the reason we did this was because, as we all know, national statistics demonstrate to us that though the pipeline is there, we can't fill it because many of these individuals have not received a high school diploma or its equivalent. And so what we wanted to do is remove one of those barriers of access. So we did create this GED prep course, and we just welcome you to access it. It is free. It will always be free, and no questions asked. And you will receive this link as well during the pre-con.
Excellent. And we'll show you in the pre-con when we get into the web, that kind of strategies, how you can integrate this and use it on your website so that it'll attract you know, your population that needs GED and or some type of equivalent. Okay, so the last poll today, Bridget, if you could bring that up, is just given what you've heard today, what technology topics interest you the most? This is one where you can check all that apply. And if you have another that was not talked about today or something very specific, maybe a challenge you're having in your workforce organization, go ahead and put it in the chat pod or the question box, and Bridget can pick those up. This will help us develop the curriculum and tailor to your needs. And at the end, we'll also give you our contact information, so you feel free to reach out to us and chat about your situation within your particular region as well.
And while folks are logging in their interest, just a quick reminder that we are recording today's webinar, and everyone will get a copy of the slides of today's presentation as well as a link to the recording sometime tomorrow, probably by noon. It takes me just a little while to get everything processed. All right.
Thank you, Bridget.
So let's see what people say here. Oh, interesting. Okay. So 43% say web strategies. 71% said, nope, it's social media platforms.
Okay.
47% platforms to improve customer communication. And 43% said CRM technology.
Okay, outstanding. So social media reigns supreme. Donna, are you ready? Get your social media plans in here.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Also, I just wanted to point you to both of our websites, fullcapacitymarketing.com and business-u.net. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. There are monthly publications that you can sign up for, as well as ebooks on all of these topics. We're very big on giving back to our vertical markets that are so good to us. We love working in the field with all of you, so we try to give back as much as possible from an educational perspective. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever about today's webinar or want more information, there's a video posted on NAHDP's website about the pre-con, and you can certainly contact Christine or myself at these email addresses. With that, I'll turn it over to Bridget and see if there are any questions or final comments.
All right, so you can use your question box to type in any questions you may have. We've got a couple of minutes left, and again, there's still seats available for this particular pre-conference workshop. It runs 8 a.m. to noon on May the 24th, And really, coming into Orlando a few hours early, how can you not love that?
That's right.
That's right. Gives you an excuse to hang out with Mickey and Harry Potter. Now, there's an idea. Maybe one of you can dress up like Harry Potter and the other one like, I don't know, one of the Avengers. That would make it fun.
I've never done that before.
We'll wear our Harry Potter glasses. I'll bring some Harry Potter glasses for us.
But both of you can make that work. I would look silly. You all would look fabulous. So I'm not seeing any questions coming in. But again, up on the screen, you have Selena's and Christine's email address and contact information. So if you think of something after we log off today, don't fret, because you have an ability to follow up with them directly as well. And again, by about noon tomorrow, you should have a link to the recording of today's session along with the slides that Selena has been using. Oops, looks like maybe we had a question coming in here. Oh, that's a good question, Wynn. For those who are already registered for the pre-conference, is there any pre-work that they should be doing?
Oh, that's a great question. No, there's no pre-work you can be doing. You can certainly peruse both of our websites for any of the e-books or any kind of readings on this topic. We have a plethora of information on there, but there really is no preparation. If you have an iPad or laptop and you want to bring it to the session, that's great. If you don't, that's also okay. You'll still have a game plan and an action planner at the end of class on what you're going to be doing. So no prep work needed.
Wow.
Yeah, I do want to add, Bridget, if I could just add, not a prep work, but if they can think about their referral processes. For example, not just the referrals that they get in, but how do they go about getting referrals out? Because that shows how far their reach is. Sometimes we only focus on referrals coming in and we think that's all there is to it. But there's a lot more to it to effectively engage with business and industry regarding referring out. So let's just think about that.
That's a good point,
we need to think about it.
So if you have some of you, well, one of the issues was around duplicating effort, so there may not be any processes around referring, and we can talk about that and how you use technology to do it. But if you do have processes mapped out, that's a great point, Christine. Yeah, go ahead and bring them, and we can chat about them on the spot when we're during the conference.
Okay. And I am not seeing any more questions coming in, but again, as I mentioned before, you'll have a copy of these slides which have their contact information. So if you think of something afterwards, you've got an opportunity to ask your question. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. I hope that this was helpful in helping frame the pre-conference workshop. I hope that I see all of you in Orlando. And a special thank you to Business U and Full Capacity Marketing for joining us today on this webinar. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Bridget. Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.